This is your test 1 review. Problem number 1, 7x minus 9 equals 19. Solve for x. So let's get 7x by itself first. That's 7x equals 28. Divide both sides by 7. You get x equals 4. Number 2, 7x minus 5x minus 1 equals 2. Distribute your negative. So it's 7x minus 5x plus 1. Now combine like terms. So it's 2x plus 1 equals 2. And now solve for x. Alright, and so to get x by itself, I divide both sides by 2. And I get x equals 1/2. Number 3, 2x minus 8 minus 1 equals 3 times x plus 8. So there's nothing on the outside of this parentheses, this first one here, so you can just drop that parentheses. There is a 3 on the outside of this parentheses, so you need to distribute. So 2x minus 8 minus 1 equals 3x plus 24. Combine like terms on the left side of the equation. So it's going to be 2x minus 9 equals 3x plus 24. It doesn't matter which side you get your x on or which side you move your constant to. I'm going to just move my x to the left side. So I have negative 1x on the left side. Then I'm going to move my constant to the right side. So I have a positive 33. Now divide both sides by negative 1. I get x equals negative 33. Okay. Number 4. The first thing that I need to do on number 4 is figure out the restrictions. And the restrictions, that's the things that would make the denominators equal 0. And so you can probably just look at these denominators and tell if x is a negative 1 here or if x is a positive 1 here, then that would make the denominator equal to 0. So those are restrictions. If you actually need to work out something, you just write the denominator over to the side and set it equal to 0 and solve. So that's what you would do for both of those, and you'd get negative 1 and positive 1. So that's my restrictions, things that when I work this problem out, I do not want x to be equal to, or I cannot let x be equal to. Alright, so now I multiply by the least common denominator, which is going to be x plus 1 times x minus 1. Alright, and so multiply that in times every term. So it's 2 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 over x plus 1 plus 3 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 over x minus 1 equals 6 times x plus 1 times x minus 1 over x plus 1 times x minus 1. Alright, and so you see the factors that cancel out. So that'll leave me with 2 times x minus 1 plus 3 times x plus 1 equals 6. Now distribute the number on the outside to everything on the inside. So I have 2x minus 2 plus 3x plus 3 equals 6. Alright, combine like terms. So put your two x values together. You get 5x. Put your two constant terms together. You get plus 1 equals 6. Alright, now solve for x. So I have 5x equals 5. And I get x equals 1. But I didn't want x to equal 1. That's a restriction. I can't let x equal 1. So that means the answer is no solution. And so one way to write no solution is the empty set. It's like a 0 with a slash through it. Okay. Alright, number 5. 2 over x minus 9 plus 1 equals 8 over x minus 9. So first figure out the restriction. So x minus 9 equals 0. Add 9 to both sides, you get x equals 9. So that's what we don't want x to be. Now multiply through by the least common denominator. It's just going to be x minus 9. That's the only denominator I have. Alright, so this is going to be 2 times x minus 9 over x minus 9 plus 1 times x minus 9 equals 8 times x minus 9 over x minus 9. So the x minus 9's cancel out. There and there. Leaves me with 2 plus, that's going to be x minus 9 equals 8. Now combine like terms on the left side of the equation. You have negative 7 plus x equals 8. So I get x equals 15. Alright, so x cannot be equal to 9 and x equals 15. Number 6. 6 over x equals 5 over 2x plus 14. So look at all the denominators. I don't have like x plus something or x minus something. I just have an x here and a 2x here. So if I set either one of those equal to 0, you just get 0. And if you say 2x equals 0, you still get 0. So that's what I don't want x to be. That's my restriction. Alright, now the least common denominator, we have to take an x to the first. We also have to take a 2. Okay, so I want to multiply every term times 2x. So 2x times 6 is 12x over x equals 2x times 5 is 10x, and that's over 2x, plus 2x times 14 is 28x. Now cancel things out that cancel. Every denominator should cancel out. If it doesn't, we mess something up. So you see I have 12 equals 5 plus 28x. Alright, now get x by itself. So I need to move this 5 over. It's going to leave me with 7. I have 7 equals 28x. Divide both sides by 28. And so I have x equals 7 over 28, which will reduce to 1/4. So x is equal to 1/4, and x cannot be equal to 0. Alright, number 7. Solve the formula for the specified variable. We want to solve for t here. So to solve for t, you divide both sides by r, and you're done. T equals D divided by R. That's your answer. Number 8, P equals 2L plus 2W. I want you to solve for L. So get the L term by itself. So first I need to move the 2W over. So I have P minus 2W equals 2 times L. Alright, so now get the L by itself by dividing both sides by 2. And so now I've solved for L. These 2's do not cancel out. That's your answer. P minus 2W all divided by 2. Number 9, A equals 1/2 B times H. Solve for H. So that means get the H by itself. So I need to divide this side by 1/2 B. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay, so dividing both sides by 1/2 B to get H by itself. Now you never leave a fraction in the denominator of a fraction. So what you have to do is flip the fraction and multiply. That doesn't affect the B. The B still stays in the denominator. You just need to take this fraction and flip and multiply. So you get H equals 2A over B. Yeah, that's because we flip and multiply. And that's your answer. Number 10, adding complex numbers. 4 plus 9i minus -7 plus I. Before I add like numbers, notice that I have a minus here. I'm subtracting. So you need to distribute this negative to everything in the parentheses. So I'm going to have 4 plus 9i. Now that's going to be plus 7 minus I. Now combine like terms. 4 plus 7 is 11. And 9i minus 1i be a positive 8i. Alright. Number 11. On this one, I'm adding two complex numbers. When you're adding complex numbers, you don't have to do anything because there's a plus in front of the parentheses. So all you have to do is just add the like terms. 4 plus 3 is 7. Negative 6i plus 4i is negative 2i. That's your answer. All right, number 12. When 4 times a number is subtracted from 7 times the number, the result is 33. 4 times a number is subtracted from 7 times the number. So, subtracted from means minus. So let me read that one more time. When 4 times a number is subtracted from 7 times the number. So 4 times the number is being subtracted from 7 times the number. And it says the result is, so equals 33. So 7x minus 4x is 3x. X equals 11. Number 13. Divide and express the result in standard form. So I need to multiply by the conjugate. The conjugate is 5 plus I. So that's going to be 45 plus 9i over. Remember, when you multiply conjugates, you don't have to FOIL it all the way out. You can just multiply the first terms and the last terms. So that'll be 25 minus I squared. And now where you have an I squared, plug in a negative 1. So it's going to be 25 minus negative 1, or 25 plus 1, which is 26. So I have 45 plus 9i over 26. We need to break that up. Use term-wise division to break it up into its two terms. So that's 45 over 26 plus 9 over 26 times I. Usually the I is written beside instead of in the numerator. Now you look at those fractions and see if they will reduce. I don't believe either one of those will reduce. Okay, so that's your answer. Number 14, 10i divided by 3 minus I. So I want to do the same thing. Multiply by the conjugate. The conjugate is 3 plus I. So the numerator, multiply that out. That's going to be 30i plus 10i squared. And then again, we can take the shortcut in the denominator here. That's going to be 9 minus I squared. So where you have an I squared, plug in a negative 1. That's going to make this number here negative 10. And we write the real part first, so I'm going to put negative 10 first. And then plus 30i over, that's going to be 9 plus 1, so 10. Now let's break this thing up using term-wise division. So it's going to be negative 10 over 10 plus 30 over 10 times I. Now let's simplify the fractions. That's going to be negative 1 plus 3i. Number 15, negative 9i times 7i minus 3. This is a multiplication problem, so distribute. That'll be negative 63i squared plus, because I'm multiplying a negative times a negative, plus 27i. Alright, so now where you have an I squared, plug in a negative 1. And that's going to make that a positive 63. So that's positive 63 plus 27i. Number 16. I have two binomials. They are not conjugates, so I'm multiplying two binomials, so you need to FOIL that all the way out. So multiply the first terms. 9 times 9 is 81. Multiply the outer terms. 9 times negative 3i is negative 27i. Multiply the inner terms. 2i times 9 is a positive 18i. And multiply the last terms. 2i times negative 3i is negative 6i squared. Alright, so plug in a negative 1 for your I squared. And I'm going to have 81 minus 27i plus 18i plus 6 when I plug in that negative 1 in parentheses. So add like terms, so I have 87. And put your two I terms together, that's going to be minus 9i. So 87 minus 9i. Alright, number 17, solve the equation. I don't see any variables in the denominators here on number 17, so that means I have no restrictions. So all I need to do is figure out the least common denominator between 8 and 3 and multiply that times the entire equation. So that would be 24. Multiply 24 times each term. So that's 24x over 8 equals 24x over 3 plus 24 over 8. Now all the denominators should cancel out here. If they don't, I did something wrong. So that's going to be 3x equals 8x plus 3. Alright, so to solve for x, I need to move this x over to the left side. So subtract 8x from both sides. So I get negative 5x equals 3. Divide both sides by negative 5. So I have x equals negative 3/5. Number 18 is very similar. There are no x values in the denominator, which means there are no restrictions. So find the least common denominator between 5 and 3. That's 15. So multiply 15 times each term. 15 times 2x is 30x over 5 equals 15 times x is 15x over 3 plus 15 times 5, that's 75. Don't forget to multiply this last number. That's common for students to forget that. Now this is the step where all the denominators should cancel out. It's going to leave me with 6x equals 5x plus 75. And to solve for x, I need to move this x to the left side. Subtract 5x from both sides. You get x equals 75. Alright, number 19. The length of a rectangular room is 9 feet longer than twice the width. Okay, so if I let the width equal x, it says the length is 9 feet longer than twice the width. So twice the width is 2x. 9 feet longer will be plus 9. Then we have, if the perimeter's room is 186 feet, what are the room's dimensions? Perimeter means all the way around. So I need to add all the sides up and solve for x, and that'll give me the width. Alright, so x plus 2x plus 9 plus x plus 2x plus 9. That's going to be 6x plus 18. And here if I solve for x, I'll get the width. So subtract 18 from both sides. I get 6x equals 168. Divide both sides by 6. I get x equals 28. So the width is 28 feet. To find the length, we have the formula 2x plus 9. So it's going to be 2 times 28 plus 9, or 56 plus 9, which equals 65. So the length is 65 feet, the width is 28 feet. Number 20, negative 2 plus the square root of negative 49 squared. So before you do any squaring, you need to rewrite this negative, the square root of negative 49. Remember, you write an I on the outside, and that gets rid of the negative, and then the square root of 49 is 7. So this is going to be 7i. Squared means that you need to say this thing times itself. This is not a conjugate, so you do have to full it all the way out. So negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. Negative 2 times 7i is negative 14i. 7i times negative 2 is negative 14i. And then 7i times 7i is 49i squared. Combine like terms. That's negative 28i. And then where I have an I squared, plug in a negative 1. So that's going to be minus 49. Alright. Now combine these like terms to real numbers. So that's negative 45 minus 28i.